Acquiring title. There are several ways that we can acquire title. The deed is the most common. Adverse possession occurs when somebody comes in and takes over a property for 7 years or more. But let me make this caveat, that as long as the true property owner is paying real property taxes, adverse possession cannot occur. We also have dedication, and that's when a developer goes in and transfers ownership of infrastructure to some type of government. And then we have inheritances. If a person dies testate, that means they die with a will. If they die intestate, their estate will go to their closest heirs through descent and distribution. Notice of title. Let's start with constructive notice, which is legal notice. And that is, we're recording something on public record, such as deeds and mortgages. But let me caution you that we cannot record a sale and purchase agreement without the seller's written permission. We also have actual notice, and this is something physical. For instance, delivering the deed, or being told verbally. Let me make a comment about that. At the closing table, when the deed is delivered and accepted, that's when title transfers. Types of deeds. First, we have a quitclaim deed. A quitclaim deed simply says I may or may not own something, and I'm giving you whatever I do own. But the deal is this, that if I don't own it, you can't come back on me later. So there's no warrants. We typically use this to resolve issues with title and in divorce cases. The bargain and sale deed. The bargain and sale deed has a warrant of season. That's a statement of ownership. And by the way, the quitclaim deed does not have a warrant of season. And all it simply says is that I promise that I own the property and that I have the right to sell it. And there are no other warrants. The special warranty deed. The special warranty deed also has a warrant of season, which simply says that we have title to the property. In a special warranty deed, the owner is only going to warrant the time period that they've owned it. Whoever has owned it before them, the time period before them, they will not warrant. The general warranty deed is the best deed that we can get. It has all your warrants and covenants. It's the most common that's out there. Deed components. In a deed, we have the granting clause, the addendum clause, and by the way, the addendum clause simply is the have and to hold clause. It tells us what type of estate we have. We also have the redundum clause. This is where we reserve things such as deed restrictions. It also has to contain the legal description. It has to be in writing and signed by a competent grantor with 2 witnesses. And let me say this, that the grantee does not have to be competent. Remember that true title conveys when the deed is delivered and accepted at closing. A deed does not have to be recorded on public record for title to transfer. Title insurance. The owner's policy. The owner's policy is based at the face value of the purchase price, and it's important to know that it's non-transferable and every new owner has to get their own policy. The lender's policy, or also known as a mortgagee policy, is based on the mortgage amount. It is transferable, and the reason for that is that most mortgages and notes are sold into the secondary market, and the title insurance policy will follow those mortgages and notes. I want you to remember the Marketable Records Title Act, because what that does, it establishes root title to be 30 years, which means that any clouds on title or defects in title that are older than 30 years old are deemed to be cured. Legal descriptions are the way that we identify real property. It's what is considered to be legal. We have our lot and block, which are your subdivisions. We have the meets and bounds. Now, the meets and bounds is going to be the most accurate, and it's the only one that contains a point of beginning. We also have the government survey method. The government survey method. The government survey method has a principal meridian that runs north and south through Tallahassee. The government survey method also has a baseline that runs east and west through Tallahassee. Ranges are strips of land 6 miles wide that run east and west away from Tallahassee. Tiers or townships are strips of land 6 miles wide north and south from Tallahassee. When a range intersects with a township or a tier, it creates a 6-mile square. This 6-mile square, or 36 square miles, is called a township. There are 36 sections in a township. Each section can be subdivided. Every section contains 640 acres, so 640 acres is going to be our base for division of a section. The example that I have here, if we're going to divide a section into the north 1/2 of the southwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4, we simply take 640, divide by 2, divide by 4, and divide by 4. That gives us 20 acres. Remember, we're dividing by the bottom numbers, and it doesn't matter which sequence it is. You need to be careful about the word "and" because that's going to imply there's more than one division. The example that I give you, if I want to find out the area that's contained in the northwest 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 and the southwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4 of a section, what we've got to say is we've got two different legal descriptions. So we want to separate them. You'll take 640, divide by 4, then divide by 4 equals 40. Then we're going to take 640, divide by the other 4 and the other 4, giving us 40, and then add them together. Be careful of the word "and."